Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
You gotta get one. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me.
It's Thursday, February 19th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real. We're keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. Very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and become action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. For the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation. All you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can tweet us at twitter.com, TheRevAl, or you can give us a message on the message page at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and then go to live stream and give us a message like Marcel Darnell says, hello from Arizona. All right, glad to have Arizona in the house. And of course, James Thomas saying, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. Happy Policy Day to you and all in the chat room. And James Thomas knows Policy Day. Thursdays, we deal with policy. Man, Rodney Jones, good afternoon, my shepherd. All right. Good afternoon back at you, Mr. Mayor. And got a lot to cover today. First of all, it was interesting. Many of us woke up this morning. I had been up because, as most of you know, I get up about 4 in the morning and work out about 5:30. And the news flashed from England that the police had arrested Prince Andrew following the revelations that came out of the Epstein file. Now, what was interesting is that they have not arrested a member of the royal family in England since the 1500s. So it is a huge deal, and I go to England once or twice a year. We have a chapter Nash Action Network over there, and I'm telling you, people are in another world over there, that the king's brother has been arrested. Now, the question that I say is, how is the British willing to go as far as arresting a member of the royal family, the sitting king of England's brother, and they're not arresting nobody in the United States for the same crime, same situation? If this does not make a blatant example of the manipulation of the Department of Justice under Donald Trump, I don't know what is. I mean, how do you rationalize that Prince Andrew was arrested for illegal behavior while in office, going allegedly with girls underage, but all of these people in the Trump files or the Epstein files are exonerated, redacted, no criminal act, and it's the same perpetrators, same environment? It looks like no matter what Donald Trump does, they can't get away from this Epstein case. And don't forget now, his own fellow Republican Congressman Massey, who started this whole act around transparency, says that now it's time to get justice in the country. Don't forget now, it was a week, 10 days ago that the Attorney General sat up in the hearing and would not even look at the victims when she was asked to look at the victims and apologize for them, for justice does not come to them. She wouldn't even look at them. Somewhere I read, I may be the only one that read it, but somewhere I read that a man sows shall he also reap. You can run, but you can't hide, Joe Louis used to say. This ain't over. It ain't over. And believe me, when they come this morning and pick up the brother of the King of England, that is going to embolden even more people here to challenge, what are y'all doing here? It's not like you don't have victims that have come out, said they were victimized, identified some. Jeffrey Epstein mysteriously hangs himself in jail. Ghislaine Maxwell in jail, gets transferred to a state-of-the-art, almost 5-star hotel-style cell. And I'm telling you that you have no moral authority in the country. You can talk all you want about this guy's a despot and this guy's trafficking drugs. If you are engaged in covering up trafficking of young underage girls. That's just as egregious. And so we got a lot to talk about with that. Then, of course, yesterday, Trump had his Black History Month ceremony. And it was an invitation only. And the celebration comes as this administration has declared war on DEI, which we are marching on today, 100-something week. Every week we've been out there, consistency. He also had been under fire for the social media postings depicting former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes. But yesterday he praised Senator Tim Scott and Scott Turner and Dr. Ben Carson, Alice Johnson, touting criminal justice reform and immigration enforcement. And trying to act like he has not done everything he could to turn back voting rights, civil rights with ending DEI, profiling, racial profiling with his immigration stance, and simple things that send signals. Like he took away at the National Park Services where you get in free on Martin Luther King's birthday and Juneteenth. And no, we can't have that. So now you got people that's going to have to spend a couple $100 between paying to get in and transportation and getting stuff in there because Donald Trump doesn't like y'all and me. Just that simple. So we got a lot to talk about today. Let's start lining up the calls. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. We're going to take your calls on this Policy Thursday. Be right back. Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Walter Phone Troy, you see him?
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist.
Wow.
Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Just us.
Just us.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Help today.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality. Women cannot compromise ERA or comparable word. Women are making 60 cents on the dollar to what a man makes. Women cannot buy meat cheaper. Women cannot buy bread cheaper. Women cannot buy milk cheaper. Women deserve to get paid for the work that you do. It's right and it's fair. I'm often asked, just say, why do you take on these tough issues? They're not very political. We can't win that way. If an issue is morally right, it will eventually be political. It may be political and never be right. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't have the most votes in Atlantic City, but her principles have outlasted every delegate who voted to lock her out. Rosa Parks did not have the most votes, but she was morally right. Dr. King didn't have the most votes about the Vietnam War, but he was morally right. If we're principle first, our politics will fall in place. When you see Jesse Jackson, when my name goes in nomination, your name goes in nomination. I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And it wasn't born in you, and you can make it. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Don't you surrender. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. You must not surrender. You may or may not get there, but just know that you are qualified and you hold on and hold out. We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much.
What up, big brother? You good?
Talk about you all day on TV. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters. Our 4 Saturdays of Black History Month, we'll be doing those rallies at Mother AME Zion. Stand on historic ground, holy ground, where Frederick Douglass spoke, where Madam C.J. Walker was funeralized, where Sojourner Truth had a Underground Railroad come through. I'm so excited about being there as it prepares us to move on to our new headquarters. Let's go back and stand on the rock that our people stood on for decades. Around this is so wicked. Now they're going to they released last night a memo that said that the FBI was investigating good. They're trying to come up with something on the victim. Not they gonna investigate who shot her. The ICE agent shooting in the head 3 times. They're gonna investigate her. And you wonder why we need movements. You wonder why we need to stand up. Hakeem Jeffries was here Monday. Why we need to deal with this midterm election. Well, Reverend, I get calls on my radio show every day. Well, I don't see where voting changed them. All right, let me tell you where if they lose the Congress this year, where it changes. The Speaker would be Hakeem Jeffries, who grew up right here in Name, as he said on Monday. The Speaker decides then the calendar for the legislative session. The chairs of the committees become Democrats. So the Judiciary Committee, now watch this in the barbershop. The chair of the Judiciary Committee, y'all saw the Judiciary Committee have the hearing and brought in the special counsel yesterday. Well, the chair this time, if the Democrats win, would be a Democrat who could then subpoena the Attorney General Bondi, all of the folks that were involved in January 6th. They can subpoena the vice for all of them because you've got the power of the gavel. Wonder why nobody keeping it real, keeping it real. How he felt running. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. You can subpoena 1-877-532. 5797 1-877-532-5797. Let me go to our live line. We have with us Attorney General of the state of Massachusetts, Andrea Joy Campbell, and she's one of the nation's leading Democratic legal voices working on the front lines to protect civil rights and really defend democracy and hold institutions accountable, particularly amid these escalating attacks on immigrants and working families and vulnerable communities. Let me welcome her to the show, Attorney General Campbell. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on with you.
Tell me, first of all, define what accountability looks like in this climate. Like, what does civil rights enforcement mean in 2026, given the outright affronts on voting rights and immigration rights?
Well, when you think about the sad and recent passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson and the standing in I Am Somebody, for me right now, accountability is 2 things. 1, exercising courage every day to seek justice, especially for those who are powerless to seek it on their own. And I would say the second is standing up for all the civil rights and human rights that Reverend Jesse Jackson, you and so many others fought for decades. And some, of course, died for us to take our rightful place in the society. So doing that work on a regular basis with my colleagues across the country, mostly, of course, Democratic AGs, it has been about standing up for all of these things that we hold to be true to ensure that the promise of this country and the civil rights of this country extend to everyone, regardless of their demographic. So that fight continues, and I'm proud to be a part of it, being the AG in Massachusetts.
Now, how are Democratic AGs stepping in where federal leadership here has appeared to fall short?
I would say in a whole host of ways. If you just look at Massachusetts, we have filed nearly 50 lawsuits against this administration for blatant and unlawful violations of the law. And what does that mean? We're standing up for just Massachusetts alone, $3 billion in investments. That includes our public schools, which would not have opened up on time in Massachusetts or other states without our lawsuits, standing up for diversity, equity, and inclusion, standing up for public health and NIH funding and clinical trials for pediatric cancer, PTSD, Alzheimer's, standing up, of course, for civil rights, our elections and the safety of our elections, standing up for people that are being unlawfully fired by this administration, and so much more, just blatant abuses of power and federal overreach. And I'll just end by saying the rule of law. I think many sort of think about the rule of law as some distant concept. The rule of law is a contract. The Constitution is a contract between the government and the people it is meant to serve. And so if we do not have that contract, your government owes you nothing. And so we're standing up for that to ensure the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, all of these things that we take probably for granted against a federal administration that continues.
I think we keep losing her.
Oh, do you have me now? I'm
I
sorry.
got you
Can
now.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yes. Let me ask you this, Attorney General Campbell. The overreach by the federal government, how does a state attorney generals like you deal with that and resist that on behalf of your citizens?
So here we filed nearly 50 lawsuits, and it's protecting SNAP benefits, our public schools, birthright citizenship, you name it. And without these lawsuits, these investments, and over $3 billion here in Massachusetts, so all of these programs that our children, our families, our elders rely upon, they would have gone away. And so right now, I think the greatest weapon against this administration is your attorney general. And so folks really have to get to know their AG in their respective states and ask the question, isn't an AG that is fighting on your behalf? And sadly, the only AGs right now stepping up are Democratic AGs. We wish that weren't the case, but it is what it is. And so we'll keep fighting the fight to protect the resources and services our constituents so desperately need.
The way that black leadership within institutions and the responsibility that comes with it seems to be something of significance to you, because some of our officials get there and act like they do not have to protect citizens that they come from that were always disproportionately not protected.
Absolutely. For me, and I've shared this with you too, Reverend, this work is not just professional, it is personal. You know, I still have loved ones that are incarcerated. My mom died when I was 8 months old, going to visit my father who's in prison. Didn't even meet him until I was 8. And then he would sadly die when I was in college at Princeton. And then fast forward, my twin brother would die while in the prison setting as a result of receiving inadequate health care when he was 29 years old. So I never forget why I do this work. The fact I grew up poor in the city of Boston in public housing, never forgetting that why I think it's critically important. There are so many folks in these positions of power who have forgotten either why they do this work or have made it about themselves. And this is a moment in time that demands courage. There's no standing on the sidelines. If we say we value Black history as we sit in Black History Month, if we say we value the leadership of a Reverend Jesse Jackson, let's not forget our why, and let's do this work reminding ourselves of what they fought and died for us to take our rightful place and to have these positions in the first place.
I think that, as one that's been in the struggle a long time, just hearing you say that warms my heart, because you find yourself sometimes, AG, saying, well, is this what we march for? And, I was a kid raised by, you mentioned Reverend Jackson, he took me on his wing when I was 13. Well, I mean, we fought corporations, fought states. I remember we couldn't get state attorney generals elected. And when I became grown, it became more common. But a lot of them get what I call Negro amnesia. They forget why they're there. Not to just serve blacks, to serve everybody. We're not saying to do that
right.
exclusively for blacks, but don't do it excluding blacks.
That's exactly right. And in this moment in time, as the first black woman and first woman of color to win statewide office in Massachusetts, I never take that for granted. It is an honor and a privilege to serve in this role. It's not about me. It is truly about service and serving people, honoring the God I serve, and most importantly, the ancestors that came before us. And when they did the work, as you know so intimately, they didn't just do it with threats at their door. They did it with death at their door every day. And yet they mobilized, they kept marching forward, they kept moving forward in the face of that death, in the face of those threats, to ensure the next generation would be able to exercise the rights and privileges we have today. And so I have no fear in this work because I remember that sacrifice. I know my history, and I bring it to fold or into the fold as I do the work today. And I use it as inspiration to keep on keeping on and to remind myself every day to exercise courage, to fight back, not just against the Trump administration, against any injustice that would harm our residents. And like you said, all residents, recognizing the humanity in everyone.
Oh, and I think that clearly by you winning your seat, most of the people in Massachusetts believe that about you. And has there been any direct interaction, good or bad, between your office and the federal government, as it has clearly done in Massachusetts with Keith Ellison and other state attorney generals?
And Keith or Tish or others that I work with closely, you know, we're in this fight collectively because we know that all the issues in our respective states, they cross state lines. When you talk about SNAP benefits being threatened, ICE accountability, or the death of U.S. citizens, this is work we do together. And so all of us, I think, are standing in collaboration to ensure we're protected in these moments in time. And I just say, bring it on, recognizing my history, my fear of God, and telling God to go ahead of me, behind me, and all around.
All right. Well, I'm certainly glad to have had you on, and also trying to get you on the television show as well. Attorney General Andrea Joy Campbell, Attorney General for the state of Massachusetts. Let's take a break. Be right back. I'm opening up the phones. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
It's time for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex. A new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't cry about what you don't have. Use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David. Took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
Targeting companies. He talks specifically about companies. He talks specifically about Operation Breadbasket and our next speaker's role. He has since then and during then bring the movement that started in the South North and urbanized it and expanded it. I came out of that movement. He opened political doors. The downside that people don't give credit to is I've seen at Saturday morning meetings, as we do Saturday morning meetings here, that started in Chicago. He's had to preach while people stood in the audience with guns pointed at him. He ran for president with more threats than any candidate ever had, facing investigations of nothing, just trying to make something up. to scar his name, would go get Americans that were hostage and land at the airport, and reporters asked, who paid the bill? But he is still here, and he is still with us, Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. That was great. Thank you. Now we go.
Al, let me alone. I want to express thanks to God for allowing our family to gather today to engage in meaningful discussion, reflection, and projection. Allowing us to gather the only place we could gather in the relevant African American church. We do not take Pastor Waldron for granted, but we have faced too many locked doors and closed churches from our message. So when a pastor does open up to a meeting like this, don't take this pastor for granted. Pastor Waldron, please stand. I really want to thank God for this connection between this family of panelists today and Reverend Sharpton in a special way, because we must make something theologically clear about the ring of authenticity that you hear in Reverend Sharpton as a bit of connectivity. And when you hear Mrs. Abernathy speak, or Reverend Moss, or Reverend Vivian, there's something so genuine you have to listen, both the language and the message. The Bible says, remove not the ancient landmarks our mothers and fathers have set. When you separate from those landmarks, you are adrift without a sense of historical connection. One thing worse than not reading the scripture, to read it and to misinterpret it. Reverend Sharpton's strength coming out of Bishop Washington's church, yes. Reverend Bill Jones, and out of Brett Baskin SCLC, we see it commonly said today that this is now the Joshua generation. That's not true biblically. Joshua came out of Moses' army.
That's right.
Joshua helped to lead the wilderness movement between 60 and 08. That was the Joshua generation. This is the post-Joshua generation. Joshua came out of Moses' army. Right. Those who came out of Dr. King and the Abernathy's army, that's the Joshua generation. There's not a post-Joshua generation. Reverend Al spans the Joshua generation and the post-Joshua. That's why his consciousness would obligate him to put these two panels, because he stands between two generations. He is a connection. Am I making sense to y'all? Because Joshua knew Moses. Those who didn't know Dr. King and Dr. Abernathy can't be Joshua. Those who don't know C.K. Steele can't be Joshua. Those who didn't know Dr. King's father can't be the Joshua generation. This is the Joshua generation. This is the post-Joshua generation. And that connectivity is important. I am a bit perplexed today as I listen to these challenging statements. Dr. King in his last staff meeting, it's also a mistake to keep referring to Dr. King's name solely. That is a huge mistake. Even he knew better. Dr. King said, when I go to the airport, I am a pilot, he said, but on the ground is the ground crew that gets the plane up and gets the plane down. He said, I cannot make it without a co-pilot. I can't fly through storms by myself. And so Ralph Abernathy is my co-pilot. And when I'm sleeping, my co-pilot flies for me. And our last staff meeting before going
Keeping it real, keeping it
to
real.
Memphis,
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. Reggie Clay is on our message board saying, I'm running for the VP of the MTNAN. Okay. I'm so ready to stand up for our people in dark places. I want to personally thank Reverend Al Sharpton for his leadership and inspiration. No justice, no peace. Well, Reggie, we need people like you ready to stand up and hold up, because they sure are fighting us. Let me say, by way of announcements, I wanted to have the Attorney General on, Andrea Joy Campbell of Massachusetts first. I didn't give the announcements. One is that I have stacked some very, very important and significant people for this weekend's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I'm live both Saturday and Sunday, and I'm very concerned about the president is going to make a State of the Union address next Tuesday. And are they going to challenge him on the Affordable Care Act that has expired? How we deal with his voter interference with these redistrictings? How they deal with, in light of Prince Andrew's arrest, bringing some justice to these victims of Epstein and his cohorts here in this country? And how we protect ourselves from the issues that Trump has raised, like canceling Black history in schools. You're going to have a Black history program at the White House yesterday. Get some folk get up and praise him while he's undermining and undercutting their schools. So don't you miss Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live this weekend, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We deal with all these issues both nights with senators, congresspeople, and some scholars, because you need to know in Black History Month where we are. We are in a retrenchment. We are in a state of backlash, and we need to deal with it straight up, straight out, and stop apologizing for being the ones that are oppressed. Also, you that in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, be at the Saturday Action Rally this Saturday. We're committing this Saturday to the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. We're part of that legacy. Last time he spoke in New York, he spoke at National Action Network Saturday Rally. He named our headquarters the House of Justice. So Saturday morning, I've invited the mayor and all of our elected officials, everybody, to be there to memorialize what he meant to us in this region. You should be there, not just to see the elected officials, but to say you part of those in the Northeast that stood up for Reverend Jackson in his transition. So we'll start 9 a.m., 9 to 11 at the Mother AME Zion Church, 140 West 137th Street in Harlem. It's between 7th and Lenox. This is where we've been having Saturday rallies weekly while we're in transition to our new headquarters, but we're going to do this weekend. The Saturday rally will be a memorial for Reverend Jesse Jackson. And then the National Action Network Convention. The passing of Reverend Jackson brings us new meaning on why we must convene, why we must have our top minds, our leaders, why we must look at everything from health care to criminal justice. The baton is in our hand. We can either drop it or show that we're deserving it. You that are serious should be at the convention as many days as you can. And it's free. None of the sessions or workshop cost a dime. All you have to do is call in or sign in. Sign in at Well, let's sign in at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call in and register by phone by going to the call free number 1-877 626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Marshall, I believe it is Marshall in Arizona. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Reverend Sharpton, thank you again for having me on the air. You know, I appreciate all the years you and Reverend Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, and all the civil rights leaders, what they did, not just for us as African Americans, but for all people. You know, this day and age, you know, the time and age that we live in is so sad, you know, to see this Trump administration trying to take away Martin Luther King Day, you know, and trying to erase Black history out of schools. I remember when I was growing up in Detroit, we have that in schools. I remember we had Bible study after school, you know, and we had always learned about our history. You know, my great-grandmother, long story short, was from Montgomery, Alabama. So, you know, she always told me things, how she picked cotton and how she came to the North, which was Detroit, to, you know, have a better life, you know, for my grandmother and my siblings, them. So, you know, I appreciate you a lot. You know, even this day, you know, living here in Arizona, you know, you still feel oppressed, you know, especially like, you know, I had an employer of mine that was, you know, calling me all type of N-words and text messages and stuff, you know, and
really?
all I did was stood my ground. You know, he even called me the N with the hard R, you know, and put it all on social media, you know, but, you know, all I can do is pray for him, Reverend Sharpton, but, you know, I still fight that fight every day, you know, to not be oppressed, you know.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you for your candor. Let me go to Sky in Richmond, Virginia. Sky.
Yes, Mr. Sharpton. Let me continue to talk. Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What I'm calling about is the situation that's going on in Iran. I think it's a distraction what Donald Trump is doing, deploying a massive amount of aircraft and carriers and everything over there in Iran to start World War III, which is, to me, what he's doing now with the Epstein file. It's like it's a distraction for what you know, because they're coming down on him. They're ready to come down on him. But my thing is, I know this is policy Thursday, and I want to know who can really declare war, because when I look at the information about how Congress and who could declare war, it says something about that the Congress people have to be given a notice, like a 48-hour notice, in order to declare war. And Donald Trump is not following that protocol. And I was watching the news the other day, and this guy, Gregory Meeks, I'm pretty sure you know who he is.
Yeah, Congressman Greg Meeks.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And he stated that Donald Trump is not informing anybody. He got a closed cabinet of what he's doing, what's going on in Iran. He said he has the right to know, and Congress has the right to know. I don't understand how the scholars and the professor people allow Donald Trump to get away with this. And, you know, and then I really do believe this weekend Donald Trump is going to do what he said he's going to do. He's going to go down and attack Iran. He's not going to deploy all that artillery to go over there and not do anything. So we really need to pay attention to what's going on this weekend. And then also I want to know, what is China and Russia? If we over there attacking Iran, then who's going to protect the United States? And Russia got to be a part of this, because we know Donald Trump still, as I have talked on your show several times, and I appreciate you allowing me to do that, but with what's going on in Ukraine, the people are weary, they're tired, and Donald Trump has not come to their aid at all. So with this going on right now, the escalation of the military aircraft over there in the Middle East, I do believe he is going to drop some, and it's just, to me, heartbreaking, because he's doing it because he's just a big kid, and he wants to distract the Epstein situation, what's going on. And we really need to look into it. So I just hope you are on top of that, because this is a vulnerable weekend coming up, or within the next 10 days. He's not deploying all the military over there just not to do anything. And it's just sad that this is his personal gain. It's all about Donald Trump. And he's definitely a narcissistic type of person. It's all about him. And Congress, please, I'm begging for people to be aware this weekend and, you know, stay on top of what they need to step on. And then also with downsizing jobs, you know, some of my family members was affected by that. He is eliminating a lot of jobs for the minority, and he's weakening us. So, but I don't know what's going to go on with the world this weekend, especially with China, and because they've been mighty quiet. We're not hearing anything from the Russians and from China about their interaction. They're trying to pretend like they against what Donald Trump's doing, but I don't think so. This is what they want to happen, because if we have a war, then they give them permission to start dropping their bombs. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you for your call. Well, you said plenty and made plenty sense to me, and I think that we ought to expect he's going to do something, as she said, in the next few days. That is his M.O. All right, let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Jesse Jackson changed American politics. Jesse Jackson changed the civil rights movement. He was a consequential and transformative figure. I always wondered how much trauma that must have been for him to witness Reverend King's assassination. He never would talk about it too much, but it drove him. He kept saying, we got to keep Dr. King's dream alive. He never stopped. I once said to him, you already in history, you've gotten all the honors, why do you keep going? He said, I never learned how to retire. He said, you got to remember, Al, Dr. King was killed at 39 years old. Medgar Evers was killed at 39 years old. Malcolm X was killed at 39. We were never raised to be 40 years old. He said, I woke up one day at 55, there's no retirement plan for us. And he kept going until this morning. Never got the credit he was due. But he said to me that those that need the credit don't deserve it, and those that deserve the credit don't need it. Well, I'm going to make sure as long as I'm alive, he gets the credit. Unlike many other ministers that I looked up to, I didn't come from a high pedigree, nice family with my father and grandfather and great-grandfather preachers. My father left. Jesse was born out of wedlock. He taught me, his slogan was, I am somebody. It's not how you're born, it's where you go with it. So he made me believe even a kid on welfare in Brownsville, Brooklyn, could be somebody. Reverend Jackson had a saying that he used to tell me that became something I lived by. He said, turn your scars into stars. And they can raise the controversy, but the fact that they've got to raise them at all means that he made his point. He made effect. Nobody thought a kid born out of wedlock on Haney Street in South Carolina would be where he was. So sometime when you're climbing up steep mountains, you might slip and skid your knee. But the story is he climbed that mountain. Well, everything Dr. King and Reverend Jackson stood for is at risk right now. He would not want us to have sanctimonious mornings if we weren't going to get up and do that. I thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are, why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president. But we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this. The only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters. Our fourth Saturday.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we are back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And you can go to the message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and send a message. Kimberly Porter sending me a message, a quote from Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. saying, leaders must be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, human enough to make mistakes, humble enough to admit them, strong enough to absorb the pain, and resilient enough to bounce back and keep on moving. I remember Reverend Jackson made that, I believe that was in his 84 Democratic National Convention speech. I'm almost sure that's when it was. Let me, Bishop James Johnson is saying on our message board, good day, Reverend Sharpton, thank you for all you do. My question is, what policies can be put in place after Democrats reclaim the House back to hold Republican houses and Senates accountable for what they've allowed under the second term? A very good question, Reverend, Bishop, rather. I think that the mechanics of it, let me put it that way. The Democrats win the House and the Senate. They then decide the schedule of legislation. They become the chair people of the committees. They can subpoena in people from the Department of Justice, private corporations, whoever they want. They can subpoena them in to see what it is that they want to see in terms of why they did certain legislation, why they went for certain deals. Were they intimidated? Were they trading on something? They can undo a lot of what was done. Why did you stop DEI? Was it based on pressure from the White House? What is the deal? And I think that it is in that position that we have power, because they've got the power to gather, and they can subpoena who they want in front of Congress, summons who they want. And I think that becomes imperative. That becomes important. Without that, one of the reasons that we can't do that now is the Republicans have the majority, so the Republicans therefore make the decisions on who's called before the Congress, before the committees, what laws go up to be discussed, all of that. So it's a very, very important point. Let's go to Dully in Florida. Dully, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, Reverend Al, it's Dooley. I'm Dollar Bill's cousin.
Okay, Dooley. All right, I can only read what they put on the board. Thank you, Dooley.
Hey, it's all right. I'm cutting to the chase because I know a lot of people want to talk. The thing with Prince Andrews in England, do you remember a story called Jack the Ripper?
Yeah.
You know what it was about?
Not the details. Help me.
Well, the detail was one of the royals back then, he was going out on the street at night, and he had a taste for street urchins, which is a slang. And in his taste for street urchins, he created a whole bunch of royal bastards. And that embarrass the throne. I think it was back, could have been the 17 or 1500s. And the big scandal. So they're trying to get ahead of that now because the people in Britain, they really think that $899 million a day interest on the money that the royals got is enough so that they can be set for life. But they're gonna milk the cow till they can't get no more milk, and they want to hang on to it. And you know what? Actually, the thing that made the Jack the Ripper famous was he didn't have to do that because the Scottish rights would have allowed him to do that. But he chose to go on his own. And I mean, and it's pretty much the same thing. Now, people out there can research Jack the Ripper and the Scottish rights, and that was a movie with one of those European stars, Braveheart or something like that. That was based on the Scottish rights because one of the Scottish rights was that the landlord on the wedding day of one of the peasants on the land on her wedding day that they could rape her. That was part of that. It was a Braveheart. It wasn't the Rings, but I think it was Braveheart, and it's based on that. And now you can research it. It really was a real thing, but they got over that, and to maintain their integrity, they're going to sacrifice Prince Andrews to because they really want to get rid of Trump because Trump is the cog in the wheel that ain't working right.
Well, I think we're going to see. Thank you for your call. If that's their agenda to get rid of Trump, we're going to see. Let me go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Ray?
Yes, sir, Ray. Thanks for taking my call. Ray, nothing pisses me off more than a sports reporter like a Stephen A. Smith, and that's what he is, a sports reporter, try to talk get out of his lane and talk politics. Now, that guy said there's not prevalent racism in America. Now, don't he realize that they're trying to get rid of voting rights, civil rights? They got rid of DEI, affirmative action. At what point does a Stephen A. Smith get it? But let me say this. How can I put this? The Epstein files. Do you know why Merrick Garland didn't release them? And was it a legitimate reason why he didn't?
I have no idea. I know that he didn't, and I have no idea, and I've not seen anyone question why he didn't. I think that there were some lawyers that said that the cases were still open and that they could not interfere with litigation. But you got to remember now, Merrick Garland was the Attorney General under Biden. And so I don't know what the status of the cases were then, but I do not know what was the cause or not cause of him not releasing those files.
Okay. That's all I got, Rev. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Let me go to Ira in Washington, D.C. Ira.
Hey, good evening, Rev. Sharpton. Thanks for taking my call. I just want to say a couple of quick things. I read an article or something about they said that MAGA is trumping up charges on the illegals to scare up the white base falsely so that they can have something to run on. They said they can't run on immigration, so they got to find somewhere in the immigrant or something that has did something to a alleged white woman, so they can rile the base up like they did back in the day with the other guy, and that's just what they're running on now. And I didn't like that. And then also we had an article that we had with Pete Hegseth, and his article was about he took all these names off of the one of these government building, one of these government forums. He took the names off the black people off. He didn't take the names of the white people. He took all the black. What's his name? Colin Powell. He took Colin Powell and every black person of color and a woman, and left all the white in place. So that was one item that I didn't like too. I read that too, so I don't know how true that is, but it sounds like something that he has done. And my last thing I want to say is this particular 47 accident did not acknowledge Jesse Jackson or any other black person at no time for nothing, but yet they want us to honor this Charlie Kirk thing. And I'm gonna leave it at that, because every president, even George W., has mentioned about minorities passing or minorities or something like that. But this guy has never said nothing, which he's not going to do anyway. And that shows how small-minded he is, and his time is coming. Prince Andrew going to set the case for him. Thank you, Reverend Charles, for taking my call. We just can't wait. We're going to watch it.
All right, thank you. And we certainly going to stay woke and stay watching. Let me take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton Policy Day. Be right back. I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is, as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what are you doing National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent.
Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of Nash actually, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You're true to this.
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Vote to phone Troy.
He was, Jack Odell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist.
Okay, wow.
Jack Odell and Stanley Leverson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Just her.
Just her.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. Beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. We thank you for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. We thank you.
Tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
It's been a long
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of Nash Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer.
it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and Yolanda Greer is on the message board saying, Reverend Al, do you recall when you and Reverend Jackson were at the Renaissance in downtown Detroit at a conference, and we were headed down the elevator? I said to you both that some of our people have turned against each other. No, I probably don't remember that offhand. I've been to Detroit with Reverend Jackson more times than I could ever remember, and more conferences, and we have an active chapter there in Detroit under Reverend Charles Williams. But thank you for the note. Let's go to the phone. Let me go to my Ace Boone Coon in Chicago on the west side. He says it's the best side. Brother Frank. Frank, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
All pal, how you doing, my good brother?
I'm doing good.
Rev, I just got to say, I am just overwhelmed in the attention. I'm overwhelmed with joy and the flowers that our iconic leader, who has gone on to the heavens to be on the other side of the rainbow, I had no idea that he would get the attention and the respect and the appreciation at the level he's getting and should be getting.
Yeah.
I really did. I'm so happy to see it, Rev. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So our condolences may go out to the family and to all of us, but the heavens are rejoicing, and there's no doubt in my mind that Reverend Jesse Jackson is on the other side of the rainbow fighting for us still. Wow.
No, I've been as sad as I am, because as close as we have been most of my life, I was heartened by the overwhelming reaction.
Yes, sir. I know you. So you know what I'm saying. Rev, this thing with Epstein, I do believe it's been done with the rest of that expense over there to get a whole lot of exposure. And I'm so happy people are seeing what it is. They are really exposing our sad excuses for the Department of Justice over here. When this go to trial, and I do believe they're going to take it to trial, or if they do offer a plea agreement, he's going to have to allocute, which means they want names. They want names. They lay it all out. So it's going to be a full exposure, and there's no statute of limitation on this, is it, Red? They may be had with this DOJ, but when the next administration come in, and new Congress and all this stuff, there's no statute of limitation on this. So Donald Trump and them, they haven't gotten away with anything. And last but not least, before I hop off, Red, I finally kind of understand. I truly believe, and I appreciate Akeem Jeffries. I truly believe he is playing chess with this shutdown, and he is making massive moves. Because I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't throw in the Obama subsidies, make that part of not shutting the government down, and throw along right on with the thing that's going on with ICE, right?
Yeah.
But I do honestly believe that that's a smart move. You don't want to rock the boat, because that right there is something that is worth shutting the entire government down, and it's going to be no until we get these done. But see, that would interfere with midterm elections, wouldn't it? And this is what Trump would want.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right.
So I think this is a very smart move, very smart move. He will be the next Speaker of the House, and them Democrats are talking that crap now. I'm not worried about that. So very smart move, but I King Jefferson, Rev, thanks a lot, and everyone have a great day. Talk to you next time, okay? I'm enjoying everything.
All right, thank you for your call. And Patricia Carter's on our message board saying, Reverend Al Sharpton commenting on remembrance of people calling in about our Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes, we are, and I'm glad that he's getting that kind of response. And Akeem Smith says, I agree. I also believe Reverend Sharpton is one of our great leaders. Well, thank you for that, Akeem. And let me go back to the phones. Let's go to Rick in Atlanta, Georgia. Rick.
We just lost Rick.
All right, Rick is gone. Let's go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD.
Rev, thank you again for this exceptional radio show, which is directly in the lineage of the great Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I just want to say, like, I don't know why, the few of us who consistently call you are just, it's an honor and a privilege to do this. And again, I just want to make it very clear that you're the only person with your microphone, as massive as it is, who is unafraid of inviting anybody who wants to call you onto your show. And that is, it seems simple, but it is so brave, Rev, and that you treat all of us with equal respect up until we, start making no sense, and then you seek clarity. And that's just such a rare gift. And again, I just wish all of your colleagues in media would have just an ounce of the bravery that you have and show through this show daily. Thank you. Rev, I wanted to commend and publicly acknowledge our state senator, Sharif Street's brave and brilliant answer at the candidate forum, which happened here in Philly Monday night at the beautiful Church of Christian Compassion. The question from the audience was simple, but very powerful. He was asked, or the forum was asked, what is one thing you disagree with in the platform of the National Democratic Party? And Senator Street answered that the national platform should include an assault weapons ban, and that's missing because of resistance from some rural parts of the country. And when he said that, I knew exactly who he was referring to, which is a senator from Vermont. But he was bigger than to name names. But then he did something even more important, Rev. He addressed the rise in hate crimes in America, and he spoke about black churchgoers murdered in racist mass shootings, and he affirmed clearly that hate crimes are real and rising. And then he did something so courageous. He said that there are some on the far left within our own party who resist fully supporting hate crimes legislation because they do not want to confront anti-Semitism, whether it's coming from the left or the right. And Rev, that struck me as so morally courageous and clear.
So let me understand this correctly. He said that there are some on the left that resist hate crime legislation because it would include anti-Semitism. So they would rather let hate crimes continue unchecked because they don't want to see anti-Semitism among those that could be charged with hate crimes?
I think he was saying that what they don't want to do is acknowledge the anti-Semitism within some parts of the far left. And that's the reason that they're hesitant on hate crimes. And he didn't name names, but I just want to say how poignant and powerful it is that the most influential black Muslim elected official in Pennsylvania stood up and said clearly that protecting Jewish constituents matters, and that confronting anti-Semitism matters, and that hate crime laws, he said, protect black people too. And he didn't say it explicitly, Rev, but I will. I've said it before, and I think you've agreed that wherever there's anti-Semitism, there's racism. Yeah. I know it personally because I grew up in it. And history shows us that anti-Semitism is never isolated. It metastasizes, and it becomes a broader assault on pluralism, democracy, on black safety, on immigrant safety, and all of us. So I just want to publicly thank Senator Street. He made me a believer in his campaign on Monday night for modeling what a multiracial, multi-faith Democratic coalition is supposed to look like. And just confronting bigotry, Rev, wherever it appears, just like you do every time you open your mouth. And that's leadership. And I thank him, and I thank you.
Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Be right back. More of you on Policy Day. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real. To the highfalutin Ivy League schools. But it meant something to me on welfare. Watching mama scrub floors,
for somebody to tell me I was somebody. You may not have needed that, but I needed that. And then all through my life, seeing him open doors. When you see me talking about Brittany Griner, it's because I learned how he went and got Robert Goodman, different situation. But it taught us that we could deal with global issues. We're not local Negroes. We're global thinkers that can talk to heads of state. And before we go off the air, I didn't know he was coming, but we got to hear some words while y'all watching on Impact Television from our leader, our mentor, the one who picked up the mantle when they shot Dr. King down. It dropped in his hands. He's been leading ever since. Let us hear some words from the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Come on, y'all can do better than that.
SeaWorld and Sesame Place, but they're doing our children. It wasn't focused on how much money we're going to get the deal for them, how many positions of power we're going to get. And there's a black on the board who owns 40% of the stock in the company there. The lawyer is a guy who was on the legal defense fund, a brilliant lawyer. So the blacks, minorities now are 60% of the company. It's about changing the circumstances in which we live. I want to express my thanks to you, Al, for being a part of that negotiation. Being part of that process. You said this one action that we're in the South with a lot of voter registration right now. Texas, 675,000 blacks unregistered, and 1.7 Latinos unregistered. In Arkansas, 380,000 blacks unregistered. So Latinos about 410,000 unregistered. In Georgia, 535,000. Well, my point is that people should be registered to vote. It's part of this situation. So I should be a registered voter because I'm an American. The registration should be automatic. You shouldn't have to pay a poll tax to register to vote. You have to go from in the country in Little Rock, you got to go 30 miles to register and vote. And that's today that office, they're mobile. You have to go back home and go back another day. We must fight for the right of registration, which is American citizenship. Talk to me, somebody. As the Trump was trying to restrict votes, we're going to expand it. You're age 18, you're drafted for the military. Pay FICA taxes, automatically, right? We're going to fight for people to have the automatic right to vote. That's actually, y'all support that proposition?
Yes, sir.
Automatic registration.
Yes, sir.
Automatic registration. Now, in other words, you take the pain out. I was my person, I often tell the story. My grandmother's not going to vote for me. If she didn't love me, grandma couldn't read and write. Never seen the light. And when she did in the mail, Mom and I had to take her downtown kicking, register for her son to vote. She got through asking questions, which she didn't want to do, and make an X and walk away. He had dropped down. She couldn't read her, had to make an X. It's about people have to make X's. Cleveland, Ohio today is 51%, 52% African American, 61% of them are illiterate, 25% never finished high school. So many of our people are behind on reading, writing, and counting. You hear me now? So we want to send a movement around the country, everywhere we go, fighting for automatic voter registration. And what it means is that if you put them in blacks on the books, you have politic toward that. You have maybe 700,000 Latinos on the votes in Texas, and 700,000 blacks. You got the campaign for who registered to vote. Right now you campaign for who's registered, you campaign for who got the money. See, if we're fully registered and fully vote, we have the power. If you go in Georgia, 2 senators, Mississippi is 45% African American. Plus Latinos, blacks are 51% of that state. And for the progressive whites, we can become governor of Mississippi. 2 U.S. senators of Mississippi. We have the power to change Mississippi for the better. Same as the South is where slave ships landed. That's where most of our people are still there in great numbers. Relationships between white and black is as close as New York and in South and places else. I want to thank you for allowing me to say something today. I really want to come back and act again. So I am. So I'm a citizen. I'm a citizen. I'm a citizen. Right to vote. I'm a citizenship.
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you mean it. Sing for Reverend Jackson. Jesse Lewis Jackson. Everybody's singing. Hey, one last time. One last time, y'all. One last time, y'all. I'm opening the doors of the movement that makes
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. And you really gonna get a lot out of this weekend's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I've been on the phone with all of this pent-up legislation, with them not dealing with the affordable health care, as well as having to deal with the question of defunding ICE. Fireworks is coming next week. You need to get all of the information. I'm going to have on some in the Senate, some governors, and it's 2 days before Tuesday's State of the Union address. Now, some members of Congress have said they boycotting. They're not going to go see Trump. They're going to a counter rally. Others are saying they're going. It's going to be interesting. Make sure you tune in to Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. Then I want to encourage all of you in the tri-state area to meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. This Saturday will be a tribute to Reverend Jesse Jackson, who ironically his last speech in New York was at a Saturday Action Rally in National Action Network. And we'll be there 9 a.m. to 11. I've invited all of the local officials to come and pay homage to a man that changed history and a man who certainly was a dominant figure in my life, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, will be remembered at the Saturday Action Rally. So come, it's 9 to 11, get there early. A lot of people coming from a lot of places, all of the elected officials, many of the senators, and all coming to speak about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Let me also encourage you that can't come to watch it live on Impact Television, or you can go to our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net or to YouTube/NAN. so you can be part of it wherever you are in the world if you can't get to New York. NAN convention, I mean, every day it seems like 250, 300 more people sign up. I'm telling you, we're going to hit 5,000, and I'm going to have to close it down because I'm going to have to leave several thousand for the students coming from our HBCU tour and our citizens that are coming out of various clubs and assignments. Sign up. That's all I can do. Sign up so that whatever workshop you're interested in, and I've not even given out the names yet, but believe me, you're going to want to see some of these workshops. Not from a celebrity point of view, and some of them are very, very well known, but from a content. And if we ever needed content, right now is the time with this war going on in the minds of American people. All right, let me go to Shreveport, Louisiana, to Jermaine. Jermaine, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hello, Reverend Al Sharpton. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, yeah, I want to speak about what's going on here in Shreveport, Louisiana, as far as we got a lot of injustices going on, have been for the last few years concerning police brutality and such as that. Families still wanting justice, still needing justice in those areas. But also I want to, say rest in peace to Jesse Jackson. He was a great figure in our nation. I should have started off with that, but again, thank you all what you're doing for our communities and helping individuals and families get justice. And so that's what basically I want to call in and say about what's going on here in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And I assume people are organizing to help out down there on this case.
It's little. We get little help. We're getting some here and there, but it's mainly just the local news. We're not getting any huge rallies like we had 3 years ago. But it's it's just getting pretty much swept under the rug by the officials and the department, police department, Shreveport Police Department. So yeah, it's pretty much getting swept under the rug right now.
Get something to me. Let me see if I can put a little spotlight on it. Give him how to reach, email some stuff to us, Dallas. All right, let me go to Maryland to Ivory. Ivory, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Ivory there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Yes.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Just want to say good afternoon to you and your listeners. And I just want to give my condolences to Jesse Jackson's family and everyone in Rainbow Bush. I had indirect opportunity to meet Reverend Jesse Jackson back in 2012. He was coming through the airport in Tennessee, and I didn't get to see him, but I had the NAACP card on me because I'm the local NAACP president. And I said, could he sign this for me? And the gentleman that he was with got him to sign it, and I keep that card with me all the time because they keep hope alive, and I am keeping hope alive, and I want to keep his spirit alive also. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and your listeners.
Thank you for your call, and I do appreciate it. Let me go to Minister W.D. Patterson.
We got Jennifer Jones.
We got Minister W.D. Patterson in Seattle, Washington. Minister.
Loud and proud, and it's a pleasure to hear your voice live, Reverend Al Sharpton. I listen to you all the time.
Thank
I'm up
you.
here in the northwest corner of the lower 48 states, and I am a clergyman and a human geographer with 30 years invested in a research project identifying individuals, agencies, and organizations that are effective in delivering the necessary services for the upward mobility of Black American descendants of slavery. And like the gentleman just talked to, I got an ID card that I carry in my wallet from the American Slave Nation. And I am the state director for the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. We're the organization that got Juneteenth made a national holiday. and that was because of the late Doc Myers in Belzoni, Mississippi, who appointed me as the state director up here. He found me on the internet now. Now, this is Black History Month. We ain't got but you and who I can count them on one hand, black leaders that are vocal, and I got to give Steve Harvey a shout out too for his radio show. You guys have a platform now that you're reaching a whole lot of people. Okay, I listen to you every day.
I appreciate it.
KYHC, and we need unity here. Now, I have data and information I've collected over the last 30 years. I used to manage the GIS computer lab at the UW, University of Washington. Okay, that's where I met Jesse Jackson the first time, and I didn't get to shake hands with him because of his security. I think he was running for president then, and I want to acknowledge the contributions that you are letting everybody know about Jesse Jackson, okay? Because he did make a difference here, okay? So I've documented all of that, and I'd like to have some personal meet with you. We got Steve Williams, who just got back from South Africa and Dubai. He's the president of NJOF, National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. We need to connect all of these organizations that people are running independently together.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with
that. Especially now, I met Steve Harvey at the Space Needle, and they fired me at the Space Needle because they said, you can't be working here. We ain't hiring you to work here talking to the celebrities that came in here. So, I just gave Steve a sample of some fudge because I was operating the fudge bar at the Space Needle in Seattle, okay? But anyway, it's a pleasure to have connected with you, and I gave my contact information. Who's your guy, Michael there? Who works with you?
You mean on the board?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all pick him up and get all of his information and get it to me. Let me go. We are joined, as we are every Thursday, for Policy Day with the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies of New York, Vice Chairman of the National Board of National Action Network, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing, Jenny?
Good, sir. Look, you need to add in there that I am the very blessed Vice Chairman of the board. I'm honored to be with you this afternoon, and I want to apologize to you. I didn't plan to be late, but I had to take care of a little business for the organization that took me a little longer. So I apologize to you and to everybody who's with us this afternoon.
Well, let me get into it, or do we need to go right to break? We got a minute? Okay. I think that two areas I want to discuss with you. One is strictly policy. The president is giving his State of the Union address next Tuesday night. What is it that you think that he must address that we ought to be looking for in his State of the Union? And what is it that should be the priority that he address as it affects and impacts our people and all people in the country? And secondly, your commentary on the legacy and contribution of Reverend Jesse Jackson. You're the daughter of Reverend William Augustus Jones, who headed Operation Breadbasket in New York when Reverend Jackson headed it nationally. And I met Reverend Jackson when my mother and Bishop Washington brought me to your father, and your father introduced me to Reverend Jackson. This was 1968, and I became youth director in 69 of the chapter. So you had a front row seat, even though you're much younger than than that. You wouldn't even thought of him in 68. But you had a front row seat since your birth on Reverend Jackson and the movement that he was one of the leaders of. And I want your assessment of his legacy. So let's take a break and let you elaborate on that, and then we'll go to the phone. 1-877-532-5797, Sharpton, Jones, Austin. Be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them. Now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old. Went to jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
That I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
I'll tell you that.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't have worked. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary McLeod Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first and we'll be last. We know who we are.
Gotta get one. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters our 4 Saturdays of Black History Month, we'll be doing those rallies at Mother AME Zion. Stand on historic ground, holy ground, where Frederick Douglass spoke, where Madam C.J. Walker was funeralized, where Sojourner Truth had a Underground Railroad come through. I'm so excited about being there as it prepares us to move on to our new headquarters. Let's go back and stand on the rock that our people stood on for decades.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. Jenny, the State of the Union will be, is every year annually given by the sitting President of the United States, and President Trump is scheduled to give his State of the Union address, first time since he was elected back into office, on next Tuesday. What are the areas that you feel he must address and that we must look out for? Some 15 congresspeople said they're boycotting. Others are saying they're going to be there and hold them accountable. What do you think ought to be something that we ought to be really looking for him to address and that are vital at this point?
So, as you mentioned, this is his first address since retaking office, and the country is in a bad way. In some obvious ways, we are right now experiencing a situation where it seems like we're in a mini civil war, if you will, where we've got the militarization of the police on American people. And that gets everybody anxious. That doesn't just get Black Americans who've been experiencing this since the days of slavery, but now you've got more and more people anxious. So let's just talk. We've got a divide. We've got a situation where the economy, where, like the overarching data points that are often used to talk about the economy, growth in domestic product, consumer price index, inflation, where those numbers, unemployment, seem to be trending the right way, but they don't tell the whole story. So if he were a man of integrity, if he was an integrous person, he'd be honest with the people, with the American people. He'd say, we've got some work to do. We've got to unify. There have been actions that have been taken around immigration that have actually put us in a far worse position than we were, and we've got to do some work to come together. He'd seek to unify us around immigration policy. But he's got to lean into the economy, because what he wants people to believe, he wants to use the GDP numbers. He wants to use the unemployment numbers. He wants to use the inflation numbers and say we're all in a better place, that it looks like we're thriving. But the fact of the matter is, while the gross domestic product is growing, while inflation is not at pandemic levels, where inflation is not at pandemic levels, it's still not where it needs to be. So even if there's a growth in domestic product, what's really happening is it's the people who have the greatest resources to begin with who are benefiting. Wages are still stagnant for low and middle income people. The price of food, the price of goods and services is still on the incline. Yes, inflation may be down from where it was during the pandemic, but it's still not at the level where we're actually doing better as low and middle income Americans than pre-pandemic. That's what I'm trying to say. And so if he were an honest broker, he would say, okay, GDP is up, but we've got to make sure that this means something for everybody. We've got to do the work of looking at wages. We need to do more to bring down costs of goods and services. He'd be saying it's time to come together and work on immigration policy, not use law enforcement and like out of control people who are not trained and should not be policing Americans, taking children out of schools and going into, and going close to churches and threatening people. He'd be saying, let's work together on sound policy. That's what he would be doing in this moment. But sadly, it's not what we're going to hear.
You're thinking that he will not address them, or if he addresses the issues at all, it would not be forthright. Do you fear he will also try and announce something in terms of a foreign government engagement, like going after Iran or going after another Venezuela-type country? Because no matter what he does, he can't keep this Epstein situation off the front page, so there's no telling what he might do out of desperation now.
Absolutely. And the other thing that we have to remember is that history helps us to appreciate that when you can make Americans anxious about foreign affairs, then they want to stick closer to their presidents. History has demonstrated that very often when elected officials, presidents, are actually, running for re-election, or they feel vulnerable, then they engage in, they may start a war, or they may deepen their efforts, or they may go after somebody who's been a threat to America, because what it does is it makes Americans feel like, okay, well, even if everything else is breaking out, all hell is breaking out, at least we're safe and our commander-in-chief is protecting us. So I think you're 100% on point. We can't exactly tell what it's going to be or where it's going to be, but he, in every respect, is trying to deflect from Epstein. What he did, with the Venezuelan president was an attempt to do just that. And if Hillary and Bill Clinton are now saying, well, come on, let's go testify, he doesn't want that heat. He doesn't want that attention. And he knows in just a matter of 3 years he's going to be out. So he's got to do everything to deflect other than actually center on the real issues. The fact of the matter is, sir, if he actually worked on the real issues, maybe people would be less interested in Epstein.
Now,
right?
Absolutely. Let me ask this: that the whole question of this Epstein situation, what are the implications internationally that a member of the royal family has now been arrested and charged? Does this escalate the intensity for those that want to see people brought to justice in the United States?
I would think so. I mean, the fact that the Prince Andrew, the brother to the king, has been arrested on what they say on his birthday. Today is his birthday, and that the charges against him carry a penalty of life in prison. The fact that that in the United Kingdom, in England, they're going to take that action, should send shockwaves to America and should incentivize all the more people in Congress to seek to hold people who are implicated in this Epstein, this heinous set of activities that expanded for years and years and years, that there should be some accountability. And so hopefully that'll incentivize more people on the ground. We saw a lot of movement of people with the Me Too movement. Well, let's get back engaged in that, and maybe we'll get some congressional leaders who will feel the heat and put more and more pressure on Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice.
Let me ask you, I see forensic accountant says Dr. Wheat, I guess she means West, I don't know, appeared on Tavis's show, I guess she's talking about Tavis Smiley today, and reminded everyone that Reverend Sharpton is part of the lineage of Reverend Jackson. Well, that's true. And so am I part of the lineage of your father, Reverend Jones. Give us your perspective as one who had a front row seat of what Jesse Jackson's legacy is, and what how should we show proper mourning for him at this hour?
Yeah. Well, let me first say that of course, my condolences go out to his birth family and the family that he came to know, that he created, and that he was a part of the greater community of justice warriors, you being chief among them. My heart goes out to everybody. When people ask about legacy, the blessing here is that we actually don't have to look far. We don't have to, sit and ponder this. The fact is that we're not going to be able to give it its fullest, description, because it's going to continue to unfold. But where I begin with is his legacy lives in you. Just as I like to say, and I feel fervently, my father's legacy lives in you. You are a justice warrior who never backs down, who never wavers. And that is because of all that your mother poured into you, your pastor, Bishop Washington, and then persons like my father, James Brown, and Jesse Jackson. When I think specifically about Jesse Jackson, I can't help but hear in my head, and I find myself humming it over these last several days. The spiritual to him, I'm on the battlefield for my Lord. I am on the battlefield for my Lord, and I promised him that I would serve him till I die. I'm on the battlefield for my Lord. That's what Jesse Jackson did. He understood his calling. He was most sincere and most dedicated to it. Even when his body was giving out, he never wavered from it. He never stayed behind the scenes. I was telling people that he was at every National Action Network convention he could be at.
He was.
He showed up at Rainbow Push.
Yep.
Right? He never stayed away from the battlefield. Some, and I say this with love, some would have wanted to keep him back. Would have said he doesn't stand as tall as he once did. Yep. But he sat in that wheelchair, and he was tall because he knew that his purpose was greater than himself, and he demonstrated that it doesn't matter if your legs give out on you. As long as you have strength in your body and you have will and purpose, then you stay on the battlefield.
Let's take a break on that one. I love it. You preach a little bit today for me, attorney. Take a little break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality. Women cannot compromise ERA or comparable worth. Women are making 60 cents on the dollar to what a man makes. Women cannot buy meat cheaper. Women cannot buy bread cheaper. Women cannot buy milk cheaper. Women deserve to get paid for the work that you do. It's right and it's fair. I'm often asked, Jesse, why do you take on these tough issues? They're not very political. We can't win that way. If an issue is morally right, it will eventually be political. It may be political and never be right. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't have the most votes in Atlantic City, but her principles have outlasted every delegate who voted to lock her out. Rosa Parks did not have the most votes, but she was morally right. Dr. King didn't have the most votes about the Vietnam War, but he was morally right. If we're principle first, our politics will fall in place. When you see Jesse Jackson, when my name goes in nomination, your name goes in nomination. I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And it wasn't born in you, and you can make it. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Don't you surrender. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. You must not surrender. You may or may not get there, but just know that you are qualified and you hold on and hold out. We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. On tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much. I love you very much.
A young man who refers to the Reverend Jesse Jackson as his mentor, but who has been the mentor to so many people, a man who himself ran for President of the United States and who on a regular basis on MSNBC stands up for economic and social and racial justice, for saving the environment and for peace on this planet. Please welcome the remarkable Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Some of the ministers, even though I was a young minister, seemed like they were not connected to what was going on in the urban North. Jesse Jackson came from the South, but organized in Chicago and knew how to organize in urban centers. There would not have been a continuation of that movement had Jesse Jackson not bridged that gap and started fighting for collective economics at that time. Way before we started talking about corporate accountability, he was boycotting Fortune 500 companies, dealing with the economic policy, dealing with the exploitation of the poor. He became a national figure holding corporate America accountable. What people are doing now was started by Jesse Louis Jackson. But directly as they start the Democratic convention on tomorrow, let me just talk about his historic reshaping of the party. In 1983, he started saying a black should run for president. There was in 1972 the Gary, Indiana Convention, National Black Political Convention. There was the fights between the black nationalists and those that were in elective office. Reverend tried to bridge that. It led all the way to 83. He went around the country trying to get certain blacks to run. In the middle of him doing that, he started a Southern voting crusade. As he was on the bus going through Mississippi, through Louisiana, registering voters, people started saying, "You should run, Jesse." And we started to chant, "Run, Jesse, run." Most of the black elected officials didn't see it. He ran anyway. And he ran and won many of those primaries, and he put us on the agenda saying our time has come. But he did something that shifted the party and shifted history. And that is when he ran in '88. Not only did he win more delegates and win more states, he changed the rules of the party. This is what I come to say tonight. When Jesse Jackson from the '88 campaign changed the party from winner take all to proportional representation. Let's not forget, before '88, if you got one vote more than your opponent in a primary, you got all of the delegates. Jesse Jackson changed the rules to where it didn't matter if you got more or not, you still got your share of delegates based on the vote you got. You cannot have a Democratic Party without democracy. There is no winner take all in democracy. By changing the rules in '88, we also got the first black chairman of the party, Ron Brown, who was a campaign manager for Jesse Jackson. He put blacks on the rules committee that kept those rules in place. So in '08, if there had not been proportional voting in the primaries, Hillary Clinton would have been the nominee. The reason Barack Obama could win the primaries and win the nomination is because the Rules Committee went on the Jackson proportional voting rules. As we come into '24, when Joe Biden decided not to run, and there were those that said, let's have an open convention. There were people on the Rules Committee, when Joe Manchin said he was thinking about running, they said, well, no, you can't run, because the rules won't let you run. Those people on the Rules Committee were put there by Jesse Louis Jackson. The reason Kamala Harris is going to be nominated starts right in this building. Starts Keeping right it real. Keeping it real. It has been a long journey. I'm your host,
Reverend
Al
Al
Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And Katrina Madison is on our message board saying, Reverend Al, I live here in Greenville, South Carolina. I met our last president, Joe Biden, at the Jesse Jackson Center down here before he became president. It was all over TV. Well, that's good. I'm glad to know they got a center down there named after Reverend Jackson. Let's go back to Jennifer Jones-Austin. Jenny, this whole tradition that is called prophetic ministry, that your father was a major figure in, and I think Reverend Jackson comes out of that tradition. Dr. King, all of us that came behind them. Explain the difference between the prophetic tradition and just those that are just in the priestly tradition.
All right. So I'm going to begin with the latter part, the priestly tradition. You know, a lot of it centers on, you know, caring for your neighbor and addressing like kind of the needs in the moment. You know, seeing your brother and the challenges that your brother is in or your sister is in and trying to help meet those needs in the moment. That, you know, keep your, and I'm just kind of breaking it down in like in layperson, not necessarily theologic terms like you make, but prophetic ministry is where you look at the needs of your brother and your sister and you understand and seek to cast a vision of something more. Like you see, like how do you move to work to affect change with God driving you forward? You cast a vision that is based in in God's word, of serving as justice warrior, as like seeking to dismantle systems and structures, addressing wicked spirits in higher places, and striving towards a society, a kingdom where all of God's children are loved and valued and their worth is understood and seen. And so prophetic ministry is helping us to see that we are more than our present circumstances. And that if we cling to God and we cast a vision of what more can be, then we can live into it and actually become it. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. did. That's what Jesse Jackson did. That's what my father did. That's what you do. But so much of our work today is like, well, how do we just take care of the moment, the need in the moment? It's the charitable work versus the justice work. And prophetic ministry, that what God is desiring of us is to see the world as it is, but also see the kingdom that he desires for his children, and then to cast a vision for that and work towards the fulfillment of it.
Let's go to the phone. This policy day. Todd, you keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, Reverend Al Sharpton, Jennifer Jones, Austin. So on Monday, I left a couple things out when I made the comment to you about Garfield being one of the 3 presidents, and I wanted to make sure I got this in. He also strongly advocated for the properties of the rebels, Confederates from the South, being divided up between the free African Americans and the loyalists to the Union, and that's very pro-black. He starts leading up to it in a speech January 28th, 1864. He goes further into it during the 39th Congress of 1865. There was a back and forth between him and Lincoln because Lincoln was struggling with embracing the concept of that. And then on August 6th of 1880, as he was nominated for the presidency, he was still actively pushing to have it happen. He was very pro-black. I wanted to make sure, because he understood that what was good for us was good for the economy of the United States of America. In reference to today, there was something that we didn't get into that I addressed about that $1,000 for every child, American-born citizen, 2025 through the end of 2028. And that was that I brought it up. There needs to be some protections put in place for adoption and foster care children that may have had somebody that applied for this for them somehow or another, and they were able to receive it, but at 18, 19 years old, they aged out of the system. I believe that they should, because of their condition in life, they should not be taxed on this money because of that. And we didn't get to get into it too much. And that's one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up again today. And for those that don't know, this is public law now. It's Public Law 119-21. It's right in there. So if you're a parent and you can file your taxes, you can file and get this. And there's approximately 500,000 black children were born in this country last year. They're all eligible for it, every single one of them. So can we talk about that a little bit, about the protections that need to be put in place for this money to be protected, and take in consideration that today is February 19th, 1942. Our country interned a bunch of Japanese citizens, American citizens that were Japanese, and in '88 they got 20 grand. Our folks ain't got nothing. We could put this in the conversation right here, connected to this $1,000. I personally think that African Americans born in this time period not only should get the $1,000, but an additional $4,000 just to get the conversation moving correctly toward our own reparations. But can you address the concerns about the protection for adoption and foster care children that are eligible for this money too, Jennifer, Reverend Sharpton?
So, sir, may I? May I begin?
Yeah, go ahead.
My first thought is, and I say this with all due respect and with love, you're actually, in some ways, though you don't intend it, actually proving my point and making my point from last week. When you say that you believe that the children, African-American children, should maybe get $5,000, what you're speaking to is how do we repair the harm? But wait, what I'm saying to you is that when we are dealing with a system that on a persisting basis deals in perpetuating inequity, especially when it comes to wealth generation and wealth preservation, if you believe that like black children should get 5,000 compared to the 1,000, you're actually making the point I was making last week about how you've got so many children who have gone without because of structural inequity in economic deprivation. So why would we be giving everybody the same thing, the same amount of money to begin with? So I'm just going to leave that there and tell you thank you for helping to make my point from last week. But now I'm going to go. You actually are you're actually giving evidence to substantiate what I was saying last week when you suggest that black children should get more to help level the playing field to address the disrepair from the years of inequity and harms. That's the very thing that I was talking about just last week. Now, on the foster care...
Let's take my break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
It's been a long time coming, but I know...
1968. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network for always in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
But I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream. Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich New Dennis, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? The essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our
let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in the South.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just wait. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Let us remember now, as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac, that they can see the Washington Monument. Keep it real. Keep it real. The Jefferson Memorial. I'm your host, Memorial that Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, the Rev Al, or our message page, and Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. And Jenny, this Saturday Action Rally will be a memorial to Reverend Jesse Jackson, who named it the House of Justice. It'll be at Mother AME Zion Church. In fact, National Action Network was the last place in Harlem he addressed. And I can now say publicly, that the mayor of New York will be there. The State Attorney General Tish James will be there. Senator Chuck Schumer. Many will be there to give their tributes to Reverend Jackson. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th, and a host of other elected officials and ministers. So people should come and pack that church and remember Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. That's this Saturday. And we also remind people Saturday and Sunday, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I've got some heavy hitters coming on both nights dealing in this pre-State of the Union address, as well as one of our guests is going to talk about what to look out for, because the Clintons are supposed to testify next week in this Epstein case. So we got a lot jumping at Politics Nation with Al Sharpton this weekend, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now or MSNBC. And then the National Action Network Convention, I'm excited about it. I know you as vice chair of the board is as excited about it. April 8th through the 11th at the Sheraton Times Square. All sessions are free. We're telling everybody to sign up, to make sure you sign up so you're assured a seat. When we fill up ballrooms, we go by the list. Get down to like 20, 30 seats, we cut it off and say, okay, now go by the list. Who out here is named so-and-so? And that's where you're guaranteed to be part of it. We're going to have some heavy hitters at the convention. All right, let's go back to you and Todd. Go ahead. Who I think you were talking?
Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer.
Todd was asking about my thoughts on children who are involved in become a part of the foster care system, and children who are adopted, like ensuring that they receive the $1,000 investment, birth investment. So I don't, you do your homework, Todd. So you may be aware that I started my career as a child advocate upon graduating from law school, determined that I didn't want to do anything unless it concerned the most vulnerable children here in our country. So I began my work in child advocacy and determined to join the New York City's child welfare system when it was a hot mess with more than 50,000 children in foster care, and the great majority of them black children, several thousand of whom became a part of the system during the crack epidemic. So the thing that I'm centering on in this moment is, first and foremost, what we have to appreciate and everybody has to know is that when you become a child of the state, when you become a child in foster care, birthed into foster care, or you are placed in foster care, your birth Social Security number follows you, and it's as a ward of the state, if you will. And they do call children who are in foster care, unfortunately, they do call them wards of the state. The government has a responsibility to make sure that whatever you are entitled to, you receive. And so it would be the responsibility of the government, if a child was born and placed in foster care, to ensure that that child at birth, or however long the legislation provides for, were signed up for this program. So not to be so much concerned about that. And the same thing with kids who are adopted. Now, the way that, if Trump really wanted this to work, it would be the situation where a child at birth, regardless of how the child came into the world and who the child's parents were, then they were automatically, once they got a Social Security number, they were automatically the recipient of a $1,000 investment in their future.
The question.
Then tell me what I missed, because I guess I didn't hear you. You asked me how to make sure they would be protected.
What I'm suggesting is that because of what the money may be by the time they're 18, that this particular group that we're referencing right now not be taxed on that money when it's time for them to claim it, because they came out of the adoption and foster care system for any reason.
So my response to you on that is, I appreciate the point that you're making, but I would also say that I'd have to study that more, because I don't necessarily agree with you that simply because, or I should say only those children who become foster care children or only those children who are adopted. First of all, let me just also say, we're suggesting that a child who is adopted won't have a prosperous life, if you put it that way. That just because you did not continue to live in the home of your birth parents, you cannot have a rich and fulfilling life.
No,
that is not.
That's not what I'm
fact,
suggesting.
right? So no, but you are saying that they not receive a tax. So you're suggesting that somehow they are disadvantaged just because they were adopted. But the point that I'm really making here is that, well, that's essentially, if you're saying they shouldn't be taxed, then something was wrong and something bad happened in their life that they should not be receive a tax like other people. But the point I'm really getting at is that we cannot look at just children who've been adopted and children who are known to the foster care system as the only ones who maybe need to receive some additional support. There are many. There are thousands of children in America, children born to black mothers. Less than 1 in 3 black children grows up in an impoverished household compared to less than 1 in 10 white children. And so just because you are born into foster care does not mean that you have a greater chance of being impoverished or having adverse childhood experiences. So why would we say that only children who grow up in foster care or children who are adopted should not be taxed when they realize capital gains, if you will, on that $1,000 investment? Maybe we should be looking at all children.
Let me answer.
I answered the question.
No, I'm saying let me answer your question that you just posed. Okay. So the reason why I'm suggesting that is not because simply they may come into 18 and be in poverty, but because it gives more incentive to them as citizens to be more invested in the civic engagement and the government that gave them that money at their birth. Now, a lot of them do come into 18 and they're poor, but a lot of people come into poverty at 18. They come out of 2-family households too. Well, they're not going to be taxed anyway because they're under the poverty line, just like these foster care children might be under the poverty line. But in the event that they're not, this gives an incentive and a reminder that we understood what you came from, no matter where you're at now. This index fund that you're cashing in today, if you do decide to cash it in, we're not going to hit you for it, and we're going because this is an act of benevolence to you from our government. Now, I want to address something that you said earlier. That you said you were going to.
Wait. Let me just say in response to that. I appreciate your intent, and I appreciate the aim. But again, I come back to you, and you have to help me appreciate that the same, there's I'm sure you're aware of. There's a psychology term titled adverse childhood experiences. And adverse childhood experiences could include, and do include, everything from children who may become known to the child welfare system through foster care, children who may have parents who've been incarcerated, children who may have known mental health either through a parent or themselves, children who may have lost loved ones at an early age, children who may know poverty, children who may have been exposed to domestic violence, may have been exposed to, criminal behavior. So why would children, just those children who've known foster care, and let me just say children who come up in racist systems and structures that keep them from getting ahead, why do we single out, and I have a heart, this is my birth work, if you will, I have a heart for children who become involved in whose parents become involved in child welfare.
You're using an attorney tactic. You're using an attorney tactic.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you a question.
Yes, you are. You're chewing up the clock. That's what you're doing.
I'm not. You can call back next week, as you always do.
True.
You have an opportunity. I'm not chewing up any clock. I'm asking you a question. Why do we single out only children who were in foster care and adoption when there are so many children in America, black children, who experience adverse childhood experiences at the hands of government? That's all I'm asking. I'm not chewing up a cock. I'm asking you, why do you single them out? Why are they singled out?
I answered.
Well, let me call the show to order. One, she was not chewing up the clock, and two, you cannot call back next week and talk this long. I let this go this week. You can call back next week, but we have other callers. Let's take I'll step out of here. Thank you to Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. And let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow.